Why do you love reading? The honest answer, I thought about this looking at the honest answer, is just it's escapism. I like to escape. I like to live in a fantasy world. I like to not live in my own reality for the time that I'm reading. Hello, my name's Kendrick. Welcome to my channel. I know it's called Coffee Catsup, but I'm drinking tea today because I'm out of coffee. I've already put out a couple of videos, but I never did the BookTube Newbie Tag, so I thought I would remedy that and hopefully be forgiven for this egregious breach of protocol that I have done. So I'll start at the beginning. Why did you start this channel? Mainly because I watched a lot of BookTube. I watched a lot of channels and I've enjoyed them, and I've seen people sort of join and then have good conversations on there, and I've been in the comments. Yeah, I thought it would be fun to meet people and chat about books. People that seem to read books for pleasure, and to get good recommendations as well. Because I've stolen, or not stolen, they're offered freely. I've taken quite a few recommendations from the different channels I've watched, and yeah, I thought it would be fun to participate in the conversation with everyone. What are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? What I'm doing now, or what most of my reading at present, is in German. I'm a native English speaker, an American native English speaker, but I'm learning German, trying to get a C2 certificate. So I've been mainly reading German, and I thought that it might be interesting to see and to talk about how someone learns a foreign language, not simply to better themselves, better their career, but just to read in that foreign language, because I've really enjoyed the part I've enjoyed the most about learning German is reading in German. And yeah, and after I passed my exam, I was thinking about sort of continuing the process with another language. So I thought it might be fun on BookTube to sort of combine those two things I'm interested in, books and then learning languages. I'm not sure exactly what I will do after German either. There's a few candidates, probably Persian, because I've already learned a bit of Persian and I want to push myself to the level to where I can actually read fluently in Persian. Either that or Italian, possibly French. I feel more obliged to do French. There's a lot of things I want to read in French. Italian, I feel more attracted to, but Persian I'm deeply in love with. I think it's an amazing, beautiful language. So yeah, hopefully I can bring that to BookTube and see if other people are doing similar things. Yeah, reading in foreign languages, and yeah, that's what I would bring. What are you most excited about for this new channel? Probably getting to know people, getting recommendations, having fun, being social. Why do you love reading? The honest answer, I thought about this looking at the honest answer, is just it's escapism. I like to escape. I like to live in a fantasy world. I like to not live in my own reality for the time that I'm reading. I like to pretend that I'm somewhere else, or just experience something different, have a different feeling, and really immerse myself in something. It's fun. It's a diversion for me. It's something that I would probably, the more time I have to do it, the happier I am. What book or series got you into reading? I think probably the first series or books that I read were fantasy books when I was probably, I don't know, when it was 8, 9, 10. I read most of the Forgotten Realms series. And then I just sort of moved on from there. What question would you ask your favorite booktubers? How do you manage to put out so many videos that on a regular basis? People like Steve Donahue, or just these like really chatty, really fun videos, just boom, 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 regularly coming out. How do people manage to do that? How do you get comfortable talking in front of the camera? How do you not feel weird and awkward when you're talking in front of the camera? Stuff like that. Yeah, and then I think most of the questions I've had, I just drop in the comments anyhow, so I can't think of anything pressing I have at the moment. What challenges do you think starting a BookTube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I can read, sorry. I know how to read. Reading will be the hardest thing. Reading questions off a list. Probably talking in front of the camera, posting videos regularly. I would like to get better at talking about books, talking about them in a sort of interesting, fun way that kind of maybe if someone hasn't read something, that will get them interested to read it, doing justice to the things I've read. I think those will be the challenges, but as all challenges, with practice, it will become easier. When did you start reading? When I was 5 or 6, whenever you start reading in school, is that what the question means? Like actually reading, actually properly reading, probably later when I could read properly, like 8 or 9 is then I started reading, 8, 9, 10, then when I started reading fantasy novels and stuff like that, and then it sort of, snowballed into the stuff you read when you're in high school, and then, yeah, at that age. Where do you read? Well, like all fun activities, all of life's best activities, I do my reading in bed. I realized that when I read the question. Like, where do I actually read? Do I have a chair? No, I don't read in a chair. When I'm home, I don't carry a bed around with me. I'm not like that, it's not possible. But when I'm at home, I lay in bed and read. Sometimes I lay on the couch and read, but I like to be laying down to read. I also read, obviously, on the bus. I read on the train. When I have to be in the library to do something, I'll read in the library. I'll read sitting up. If you're going to force me to sit up, if you're going to force me to pay, if you're going to force me to do that, I'll do it. But I would prefer to be in bed reading with a couple of pillows behind me. Yeah. What kind of books do you like to read? All sorts. A lot of fiction, literary fiction, garbage fiction. I like, or in the past few years, I've read a lot of travel memoirs, or books about travel. And then, now I've been reading a lot in German, and kind of discovering how fascinating some German writers who I'd never heard of before are. I also, instead of just answer, I also have a stack of stuff that I'm reading now. So one of the things I started because Grim Reader, another YouTube channel I follow, was speaking about it the other day, and I had on my shelf, and I hadn't gotten very far in it, but it is Adalbert, I can do it in a German accent, Adalbert Stifter, Bunte Steine. So this is something I really like. I've only read a couple of the stories, but I really like this sort of hypnotic, very calming Stifter. Very relaxing, perfect to read in bed. So yeah, I want to read more. I also have Stifter's historical novel, Witiko, I think it's called, which I'd read some of before, but it was too difficult for me a couple of years ago. The German was too hard for me. So I'm going to go back to that probably after this and give it another go. I like stuff about the Middle Ages. I did my master's thesis on Chaucer's Troilus and Cressida. So yeah, I have an interest in the Middle Ages, so I'm also at the moment reading Medieval Bodies. This is a really cool, fun book, lots of pictures. Also, it's kind of an exploration, not really about, it's about bodies, but I think it's using bodies as a way to explain the Middle Ages, which is a huge topic, the Middle Ages. But this, I think, is a fun little, this would be, I think, a fun introduction to someone, a fairly literate person, to read this about the Middle Ages. I also have begun, sort of, in the past few years, been interested in Persian literature. So I was rereading the other night The Blind Owl by Sadek Hedayat. So also, I'd like to do a video on this as well, but I don't know how to do it exactly. I need to read, I think, a little bit of, this is a fun book. It's a crazy book, but I want to read a little bit of criticism on this and see if I can make something else out of it. But yeah, Persian literature. Also, the Shahnameh by Ferdowsi, I'm interested in. And then the other thing I'm doing is I'm reading all the Thomas Mann Thomas Mann I can get my hands on. And right now I'm digging into about halfway through Buddenbrooks, which is a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. This is a really cool novel. Yeah, I've been making little shorts about this, but yeah, there's some really funny stuff in here. One of the characters, Tony, married a second time to a guy from Bavaria. And she said, are you going to allow me to be sworn at by this beer dialect? In this beer dialect? Yeah, well, maybe it's funnier in German. But, und mich in einem ungebildeten Bierdialekt beschimpfen zu lassen? Yeah, so I'm really enjoying this. And then after this, probably Magic Mountain and Dr. Faustus to have here as well. And Joseph and His Brothers to finish it off. I've also been reading Charles Dickens' Bleak House, which I'm almost through with. So this is what, I'll have an English book that I read right before bed to sort of cleanse my palate while the German I've been consuming. Yeah, and I've really been enjoying this. It's an amazing, I'd read bits of it before and I never fully sort of got through it. I never finished it. And then I've just powered through it in the past few weeks before bed. And I'm really enjoying this, and I'm going to read more Dickens. The language is beautiful. I didn't realize how beautifully Dickens' descriptions are. And yeah, I'm going to read another, I think I'm going to have another Dickens sort of always on the go until I've read all of the Dickens. I have Pickwick Papers as well behind me, and I think that's up next. And then another book that I read from time to time and I'm always kind of dipping into, and I like these sort of books, is this is also on my nightstand right now, Rose Macaulay, Pleasure of Ruins, which is an incredibly cool book just about, yeah, as it says, it does what it says on the tin, the pleasure of ruins. And her language is so beautiful. The way she describes things, the listing. Yeah, should I read you? I'll read you a section. The ascendancy over men's minds of the ruins of the stupendous past, the past of history, legend, and myth, at once factual and fantastic, stretching back and back into ages that can be surmised, is half mystical in basis. The intoxication, at once so heady and so devout, is not the romantic melancholy engendered by broken towers and molded stones. It is the soaring of the imagination into the high empyrean, where huge episodes are tangled with myths and dreams. It is the stunning impact of world history on its amazed heirs. It is less ruin worship than the worship of a tremendous past. So yeah, this is what I dip into from time to time, and I love. So these are the kind of books I read. I read other stuff as well. Like I said, I don't have any right now that I'm doing, but I've read in the past few years. Try everything I could get my hands on about travelers in Afghanistan for a project I was working on. Yeah, so a lot of travel fiction I find, travel memoirs rather, I find, and fiction, anything like that I find really interesting. Historical fiction, I love to read as well. Yeah. So that is everything. Those are all the questions I have. And thank you for watching. And I hope to hear from some of you soon.